Most times, living in Berkeley is great, with our serenely beautiful meadows, waters, and forests. But don't forget that emergencies sneak up in the most unsuspecting of times. Even here, we need to be prepared for the unexpected. So what can you do to prepare for these situations? What kinds of supplies does the BSC have available to prepare you for them? In this short video, we'll answer your questions and teach you more about how you might prepare for these contingencies. Fortunately, there are some easy guidelines to follow to better prepare for disasters. So, on just some ordinary day in Berkeley land, an earthquake shakes you and everything around you. There are a specific set of practical rules you should follow to protect yourself and those around you. First, duck and cover, drop to the ground, and cover the back of your head. Make sure you are under sturdy furniture, next to interior walls, and away from windows. In doing so, you'll be safeguarded against careening and possibly unfriendly debris. Afterwards, once the initial shake is finished, exit the building as soon as possible and follow the emergency plan your house has formulated. If you're already outside, make sure you're far away from power lines, falling buildings, or bodies of water. Say the earth isn't rumbling, and instead the building is starting to feel a little smokier and warmer than usual. This could mean fire. To respond to a fire, immediately evacuate. Make sure you feel doors and then handles before opening. Shut any doors behind you, yell to your housemates, and grab the fire extinguishers on your way out to meet other house members at the pre-designated meeting area detailed in your house emergency plan. Remember that even if it just seems like a test, you must always leave the building in the event that a fire alarm sounds, or a substantial fine may be levied against you. Now you know what to do during disaster, but what about before? Little do you know, the BSC has all along been planning for disasters. Your house and your management team should be prepared with knowledge about the plans for evacuating and directing everyone in the house to safety. They will know the location of your house's emergency kit, fire hydrant, water barrels, and where the BSC-Y stores of food, first aid, and other emergency supplies are kept and will be distributed. As well, they have access to all members' emergency contact information, but only once you've shared it with them, which you need to do as soon as possible if you haven't already. If you feel uncertain about any of these items, or like to just learn more, talk with your house manager or any of your house-level major managers. Managers have been trained to respond to emergency situations and are familiar with the BSC-wide emergency plan in addition to house plans. Some are trained in fire suppression, search and rescue, and even disaster medical response. So, in the event of an emergency, trust them, follow their directions, and try to stay as calm as possible so that everyone may be able to follow the proper procedures and reach the designated meeting spot or other areas. Before any emergency arises, your manager will schedule a house drill, which you should take seriously in order to learn about proper evacuation procedures and the location of the outdoor meeting spot near your house. So, there is yet to be any emergency. Things seem fine and ordinary, so it may be tempting to think that this state of calm may remain forever. Take advantage of this opportunity to prepare yourself for predictably occurring and reoccurring disasters. You don't want nature to catch you off guard. As you can see, the BSC has a plan for preparation, but there are some simple, low-cost things only you can do to better prepare for disasters. First, members should have a grab-and-go bag ready, containing items such as emergency contact information, closed-toed shoes, a flashlight and batteries, some extra spending money, a water bottle. Remember, you need 1 gallon per day per person, some food, preferably energy bars or something with extra protein in it, and anything you know that you need on a regular basis. For example, medication and glasses. Prior to any disasters, members with special needs should also discuss with their managers how they may respond effectively to an emergency and the kind of assistance they may need. Knowing which loved ones to contact and how to contact them in the case of an emergency is important too. On top of the emergency contact information that your managers should have already gathered, you should designate an out-of-area emergency contact person or team, someone you know you can rely on, who will not be affected by the disaster in your area, and whose phone number you can easily remember. They will be the best point person for assuring others that you are safe and sound. In emergencies, it is also difficult to call locally, so have that out-of-town contact person ready. So you're learning a lot about how you and your house can be prepared. But what about the Berkeley Student Cooperative? Well, the BSC has a plan too. We'll just share the basics with you so that you know what to expect in the event of an emergency, but not to overwhelm you with all the exciting details. If you want more information, discuss it with your house manager or the member resource supervisor. So now you know the BSC has a plan. In an emergency, you'll immediately follow the plan laid out by your house managers. If it's a local, house-level emergency, you're fine. But if it's worse, then you'll want to follow these steps with fellow co-opers. There are 3 major post-disaster meeting locations near the 3 main clusters of co-ops. One is here, near Ridge, where all Northside co-opers should gather. A city emergency cache, water barrels, and food caches are all nearby and will be distributed by your designated emergency officer. The Northside Co-op's emergency officer will be the Cloyne facilities manager. If you live near the stadium and the Greek community, your meeting place is Oscar Wilde House, where the same supplies will be available, and the operations manager will be there to field any concerns and distribute supplies accordingly. Lastly, if you live at Rochdale or Fenwick Apartments or nearby them, your meeting place is Rochdale, where water barrels, e-kits, and an e-cache are accessible. The executive director will be there to manage the situation, supported by the Rochdale facilities manager. When an emergency happens, it'll be tempting to panic and forget all of what we're telling you now. But try to remain calm so that once you've reached these command posts, the respective emergency officers will be able to effectively and efficiently distribute supplies to all involved. We're in this together, and it's up to us to maintain our composure in times of duress. If not, our disaster will quickly turn into something much worse: chaos. So as you may remember, many of your house managers are trained in fire suppression, search and rescue, and even disaster medical response. But you can be a great resource to them if you know how to support them in these activities. In particular, if you know how to identify people who have been hurt during the course of the emergency, you can help the injured and help the e-officers allocate and direct resources to the right people. When identifying an injury, there's some important biological signals to pay attention to. You'll want to inventory respiration habits, pulse, general awareness, and mental state. An example, talk to them and see how they respond. Once you've done this, think about whether they fit into immediate need, delayed need, or minor injury. If it's unclear how to do this, ask a manager or your respective emergency officer. Keep in mind that there are great resources all over the place, inside and outside of the BSC. If you have a radio, turn it to AM 1610. Which is a local radio station that will provide you with up-to-date information on the disaster and activity within the area. For more personalized information, be sure to sign up at the BENS website, the Berkeley Emergency Notification System website, which is a free service that informs you by phone of emerging emergency conditions. Other information is available on the Berkeley Student Cooperative home website. Just type emergency into the search bar to find multiple resources. The preparedness doesn't stop here. If you want to participate more actively, consider being trained in CERT or first aid. Just talk to the member resource supervisor or visit the Berkeley Fire Department website to learn more. So, to take it from the top, in an earthquake, get under something stable and stay there until the shaking stops and then leave. In a fire, evacuate immediately, loudly and preferably with a fire extinguisher. Follow the prepared emergency plan and drill procedures, heeding manager directions and gathering at the already designated emergency spot. Bring your already prepared grab-and-go bag complete with stuff that you need, and collaborate with managers to follow special needs emergency procedures. Identify people in need as you find them and relay that information to relevant managers or other qualified and trained individuals. Listen to your radio and wait for BENS updates while you're at your respective command post around the BSC. Just remember these key features the BSC plan, and you won't have to worry. Thanks for viewing and stay safe.